times in our days we are surrounded by others who may engage in behaviours that we do not want, we do not like, we do not wish for. And while we can politely, calmly, respectfully ask, communicate our preference, we don't always automatically get that out of them, because sometimes they are unable to, because they have a momentum. You might want to ask someone to be quiet and peaceful, or not to engage in a toxic behavior of being disrespectful. But they have the momentum that they have, and it's not within our control. We can communicate, we can ask, but their reactions, their thoughts, the experience of the moment is theirs, and we are hopeless about it. We can role model, we can communicate, but in no way should we expect, because when we go down the road of expecting that they behave exactly as we want, it just backfires. When we demand that they behave in the way that we want, even if it is the best behaviour for them, for us, and the circumstances and those around, even if it is for the best, we cannot control and demand, and only backfires if we do so, because their body is having a reaction, and that's way more powerful than our influence. At times we are in a very solid position, in a grounding position, that our calmness, through our connection, through our love, we can influence through role modeling the behavior. We can influence them into a certain direction. Perhaps we can have a kind word that helps them calm down, soothe down, quieten down. And if we are connected, then we have a stronger possibility of influencing, of reminding them of their options. And sometimes they are in a position to listen, to cooperate. But if we are not grounded, if we are not connected, and they have a different kind of momentum, or even they don't have that interest. I might want peace and quiet, but that person in that moment is only able to blurt out whatever it is that they're feeling, especially if they're feeling frustrated and angry, and they have not yet learned to manage that energy. And perhaps they might be rightly so, because they're experiencing a grief and a loss, or feeling disempowered and controlled. And no one likes to feel disempowered and out of control. And no one likes to feel controlled. No one likes to feel that they don't have any options. No one likes to feel that their options are not their choices. So let's remind ourselves when we are in these situations that our preference is just a preference. We are powerless over what someone else's body is doing, the way of viewing the world, the experience. It's beyond our control. And then do what we can do in the moment. Do we have sufficient connection to influence? Then we might try that. But then if that doesn't work, are we going to beat ourselves up for failing? Beating others up for not cooperating? or just simply accepting. In this moment there's a war out there and I can't do anything about it, about others. The only thing I can do is about me. Being surrounded by that unwanted things and behaviors. And connecting with, I choose to connect with my peace. I choose to let go. Sometimes we need to interfere, especially if there are vulnerable others, like children. But sometimes people, no one is at risk. It's just an uncomfortable moment. If we are at risk, or our vulnerable ones are at risk, let's remove ourselves from the situation. If there's a possibility of harm, let's remove ourselves ASAP and ask for help. But if there's a little conflict, arguments, and we are not getting there, if our influence is not getting the best out of the situation and them, then let's just do what we can do to manage ourselves so that we don't get involved and create a bigger problem. Because instead of having one dysregulated or two dysregulated, now we have three dysregulated or more. So if there's a little conflict going on here, if our energy is greater and we can shed a light and we try. Some people are incredibly skilled, but usually it comes down to being grounded and connected, and they can influence. But sometimes they have too much momentum and so much determination, and we can't get there. So that's their experience, accepting that's their experience in the moment, and choosing our battles. Do I want to get involved in this battle, in this moment? Is this worthy of my time and energy? Remember, if you get involved in a hopeless battle, you're only going to feel depleted in energy. I'm not saying don't have your influence. Do have the influence, and do certainly try. But then you get to know when to pick. You get to know what is most important right now. For me, to stay calm and centered. Just know there's just a moment that will pass. Or for me, to get dysregulated, get involved and make the problem bigger. Because when someone is dysregulated, they're not listening to reason. And sometimes they're just letting that energy out of their system. There is a time and a place to quietly address things, to find alternative solutions. But in the mid of that, when it's raining and when there's a storm, you just have to go through the storm. You can then learn what you can do to prevent, what can you do to protect yourself from the storm. But once that momentum is going, if you are physically safe, just go and find a place where you can retreat, either the bedroom, the bathroom, outside the house. And if you can't physically escape, just connect with your heart and your mind. I choose to stay connected with my peace. This is my peaceful moment. I don't need to get engaged in this. I don't need to control. Others do not need to behave differently for me to feel better. I can choose to stay connected with my peace. While we go through it might not feel good, but we are empowering ourselves, and we are reminding ourselves that we only have the choice within us. And sometimes focusing on our reaction is more important than focusing on demanding and controlling others and demanding that things were different, and then feeling hopeless at the end of it. There are time to identify what the problems are and how can we mitigate those problems by finding solutions. And let's be proactive at finding as many solutions as possible. However, there are moments where we don't have those solutions available and we have to deal with whatever it is that is going on. And if we can remove ourselves, if that's the best, even if it's just to go outside for a little walk, so we can find ease. But if we can't, then we stay connected to our connection. Something that is meaningful to us, peace or love, or our energy, or even I feel good right now and I don't want anything to disturb my bubble. So I'm going to let go what's going on around me, because it's best for me, it's best for others, it's best for the circumstances. Taking deep breaths. Obviously, after the storm, we can learn the lessons, communicate the lessons, and encourage others to learn to do something differently, if that is appropriate. But the point of this exercise is to recognize when we can influence and when it's best to influence our reactions, focusing on the areas that we can control, the way we think about it, the way we feel about it, the way that we respond to it, so that we feel more empowered, so that we save our energy and our health, so that we continue with our peace and our feel-good energy. Because that, my friend, is the best gift we can give to ourselves and others. And let's remember, we are all humans, and at times we are the stinkers that ruin the peace and good feelings for others. So let's cut people off the hook, take them off the hook of the high standard and give them some slack. Sometimes they don't feel good, and sometimes we don't, and we ruin for others. So let's have compassion for their struggles and for our struggles, and forgiveness in that moment they were unable to do better, not on purpose, because we're struggling to manage themselves. Like at times we are in that position. Forgiveness for them, forgiveness for us, forgiveness for the circumstances. Love, compassion, patience, and remember, use the energy to empower yourself. Sometimes we have a grandma that is in the middle of something but still stays calm. Instead of adding wood to the fire, instead of freaking out. So sometimes if you can be that person or have that behavior, if you don't know if you're doing it for others, do it for you. Because if you can stay calm and centered, at least there's only, say, 2 people dysregulated or 1 instead of 3. So at least you save 1, yourself. And if you are strongly connected and you think you could try, you influence, and then step aside if you feel that that's bigger. Don't just get, I'm gonna win with that, because the minute we go with that determination, I'm going to win, we are not taking in other momentums, other realities. Perhaps it's just our ego on the driving seat, our controlling, our anxious thoughts. I must have this in this way in order to feel good or else. No, it is what it is. Bye for now. And I hope that in time, addressing the problems with solutions, things will get better.